Have you ever found yourself in a room full of people? Maybe it's a family gathering, a party with friends, or even a church event, and despite being surrounded by familiar faces, you feel completely out of place. It's like everyone else is on the same wavelength, effortlessly connecting, laughing, and enjoying the moment, but you're standing there, feeling like you're on the outside looking in. You're there physically, but emotionally and spiritually, you're somewhere else, wondering why you don't quite fit in. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Maybe you've tried to join the conversation, share your thoughts, or connect in some way, but something just feels off. It's not that you don't care about these people or enjoy their company, but there's this lingering sense that you're different, that you're walking a path that they can't fully understand. And that difference, that feeling of not quite fitting in, can be isolating, even when you're surrounded by those you care about. If you've ever felt this way, you might be wondering why it happens. Why, despite your best efforts, there's still this invisible barrier that makes you feel like an outsider. In today's video, we're going to explore 7 reasons why chosen ones, like you, often feel this way. We'll dive deep into the unique aspects of your journey that set you apart and show you that these feelings of isolation are not a reason for weakness or failure. They're a sign that you're on a path meant just for you. So, let's get started. Whether you've felt this way for a long time or these feelings are new to you, I invite you to join me on this journey of discovery. Because being a chosen one means you're set apart for a reason, and today, we're going to explore exactly what that reason might be. Let's dive into the first reason why you might feel like an outsider. You see the world differently. And honestly, that's because you are. But that's okay. It's part of what makes you unique and special in your journey. Even though it might make you feel a little distant or misunderstood at times, remember that this perspective is a gift. It's what sets you apart as a chosen one. When you see the world differently as a chosen one, it can sometimes feel like you're speaking a different language than those around you. You might find yourself in conversations where you feel out of place, like others don't quite get where you're coming from. It's not that they don't care. It's just that they don't see things the way you do. This can make social interactions feel a bit awkward or even lonely at times. But don't let that discourage you. It's not a reflection of your worth. It's just a sign that your path is different, and that's okay. Let me share a little story that you might relate to. Imagine you're sitting with a group of friends, and everyone's talking about the latest trends or their weekend plans. But your mind is somewhere else. You're thinking about something deeper, maybe a spiritual experience you had, or a lesson you learned from scripture. You try to bring it up, hoping to share that insight with the group. But you notice their eyes glaze over, or they quickly change the subject. It's like they're not interested in what you have to say, and suddenly you feel like an outsider. You're not trying to be different. You just see things in a way that's meaningful to you, and you want to share that with others. But in moments like these, it can feel like there's a gap between you and the people you care about. It's tough, but it's also a reminder that your perspective is unique, and that's something to cherish. Let's think about someone like Albert Einstein. We all know him as one of the greatest minds of the 20th century, but what's often overlooked is how misunderstood he was in his own time. Einstein had this incredible ability to see the universe in ways that no one else could. While others were focused on what was right in front of them, he was diving deep into the mysteries of space and time. His theories challenged the status quo, and many people just couldn't grasp his ideas at first. In fact, some of his work was even rejected by his peers because it was so different from the norm. Einstein wasn't trying to be difficult. He was simply following the path that God had laid out for him, using the gifts he was given. And though it made him feel isolated at times, that unique perspective ultimately changed the world. Just like Einstein, your way of seeing things might set you apart, but it's also a sign of your unique purpose. I know it can be really tough to feel like you don't quite fit in, especially when you're surrounded by people you care about. It's like there's this invisible barrier that keeps you on the outside, even when you're right there in the middle of it all. But remember, feeling different doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. In fact, it often means there's something incredibly special about you. God has given you a unique perspective, a way of seeing the world that's meant to bring light to others, even if they don't always understand it right away. It's okay to feel a little out of place. Sometimes it just means you're walking a path that's uniquely yours. Reason 2, your purpose feels bigger than social norms. As a chosen one, you often feel a pull towards something much bigger than yourself. It's like you've been called to a mission that goes beyond just living day to day. While others might be focused on the usual goals, like climbing the career ladder or fitting in with social circles, you feel driven by a deeper purpose. This purpose might not always be clear, but you know it's there, guiding you, pushing you to make a difference in a way that's meaningful and lasting. Sometimes, this can make you feel out of sync with those around you, but that's because you're focused on something greater. You're not just here to blend in. You're here to fulfill a calling that's unique to you. When you're driven by a larger purpose, it can sometimes feel like you're living in a different world than your friends. While they might be focused on things like getting that promotion, buying a new car, or climbing the social ladder, your heart is set on something deeper. You're thinking about how you can make a real impact, how you can serve others, or fulfill the mission you feel called to. This can create a gap between you and those around you, making it hard to relate to conversations about conventional achievements. It's not that you don't care about their goals, but your focus is just in a different place. This difference can sometimes make you feel distant or even misunderstood by those who don't share the same sense of purpose. But remember, this is part of what sets you apart as a chosen one, and it's okay to walk your own path, even if it means stepping away from the crowd. Think of your purpose as a lighthouse standing tall on a rocky shore. Just like a lighthouse, you're meant to guide others, shining a light in the darkness to help them find their way. The ships out at sea, those are the people around you navigating the waters of life. Some are close to the shore, while others are far out, drifting in the open ocean. Your light isn't always understood by everyone. Some might not even notice it, especially if they're caught up in the busyness of their own journey. But that doesn't change your role. You stand firm, shining your light, knowing that even if just one ship sees it and finds safe passage because of it, you've fulfilled your purpose. It's not always easy to be that lighthouse, standing alone against the waves and storms, but your light is needed. You're there for a reason, and your purpose, like that light, can save lives, even if you never know it. Let's take a moment to think about Mother Teresa. She's a powerful example of someone whose purpose went far beyond what society considered normal. While most people were focused on building careers, raising families, or achieving personal success, Mother Teresa felt called to serve the poorest of the poor. She left behind a life of comfort to live among those who were suffering, dedicating herself entirely to helping others. This kind of purpose wasn't easy. It set her apart, even isolated her at times, because what she was doing was so different from what society expected. But that didn't stop her. Despite the challenges, despite feeling alone in her mission, she kept going because she knew that this was the path God had set for her. Her work was admired by many, but it also meant walking a lonely road, one that required immense faith and strength. Mother Teresa's life reminds us that when you're chosen for a higher purpose, it may lead to isolation, but it also leads to incredible impact. I want to encourage you to embrace the unique purpose that's been placed in your heart, even if it sets you apart from others. It's not always easy to walk a path that feels different from those around you, but remember, you were chosen for a reason. God has given you a special mission that only you can fulfill. Don't be afraid to stand out, to be different, or to follow the calling that's been placed on your life. It might feel lonely at times, but trust that your purpose is leading you exactly where you're meant to be. Embrace it fully, knowing that your light is needed in this world. Reason 3, you experience heightened intuition. As a chosen one, you might notice that you're more in tune with the world around you than others. It's like you have this heightened intuition that lets you pick up on things most people miss. You can sense the emotions and energies in a room, even if no one is saying a word. This sensitivity makes you more aware of what's really going on beneath the surface, whether it's someone's unspoken feelings or the spiritual atmosphere of a place. While this can be a powerful gift, it can also make you feel overwhelmed or out of place when others don't see or feel the same things you do. But this intuition is part of what makes you unique, and it's something to be embraced, even when it sets you apart. Having heightened intuition can sometimes make you feel like you're on a different wavelength than those around you. You might sense things that others don't, and when you try to express these feelings or insights, it can be hard for others to understand. This can create a sense of distance, even with people you care about. They might not recognize the deeper truths you're picking up on, which can leave you feeling isolated or misunderstood. It's not that they don't care, they just experience the world differently. This can be tough, but it's important to remember that your intuition is a gift, even if it sets you apart at times. Imagine you're at a gathering with friends. Everyone's having a great time, laughing and enjoying themselves, but something doesn't feel right to you. You can't quite put your finger on it, but there's this unsettling feeling in the pit of your stomach, like something's off. You try to shake it off, but the sense of danger just keeps growing. You decide to mention it to your friends, hoping they'll understand, but instead, they brush it off, telling you not to worry and just relax. Now, you feel a sense of alienation because they don't share your concern or even acknowledge what you're sensing. It's not that they're ignoring you on purpose, they just don't feel what you feel. This experience leaves you feeling even more isolated, like you're on the outside looking in. But remember, your intuition is there for a reason, even if others can't see it. It's a gift meant to guide and protect you, even when it sets you apart. Let's talk about a modern example of someone who trusted their intuition, even when it meant standing alone. Take the case of Edward Snowden. He was working in the intelligence community when he began to sense that something wasn't right. His intuition told him that the government's surveillance practices were crossing ethical lines, infringing on the privacy of millions of people. Despite the risks, Snowden listened to that inner voice and decided to speak out, exposing what he believed to be wrongdoing. At first, he faced incredible isolation, labeled a traitor by some, and forced to leave his home and live in exile. But over time, as more people began to understand the truth of what he revealed, many came to see him as a hero. His intuition, though it led to alienation, eventually brought about a much-needed conversation about privacy and government power. It's a powerful reminder that following your intuition, even when it isolates you, can lead to significant change. I want you to know that if you've ever felt isolated because of your intuition, you're not alone. It's not easy to sense things that others might miss, or to feel like you're carrying a truth that others can't understand. But let me reassure you, your intuition is a gift, a special part of who you are. It's there to guide you, to protect you, and to help you navigate the complexities of life, even when it sets you apart from others. Embrace it, trust it, and know that this gift, though it may feel like a burden at times, is a sign of your unique path and purpose. Reason 4. You value depth over small talk. As a chosen one, you probably find yourself craving conversations that go beyond the surface. While others might be content talking about the weather or the latest trends, you long for discussions that are deep and meaningful conversations that explore life's bigger questions, like purpose, faith, and the mysteries of the soul. Small talk can feel empty or even draining to you because it doesn't satisfy that inner need for connection on a deeper level. You're not trying to be distant or aloof. You want to engage with others in a way that resonates with your spirit, not just fill the silence with words. When you have a strong preference for deep, meaningful conversations, casual, social interactions can sometimes feel draining. You might find yourself in situations where everyone is chatting about light topics, but you're left feeling unfulfilled or even disconnected. It's not that you don't care about what others are saying, it's just that these surface-level conversations don't resonate with you. This can lead to a sense of not fitting in, as if you're on the outside looking in, longing for a connection that goes deeper. It's like your soul is craving something more, and when it's not there, you can't help but feel a bit out of place. Imagine you're at a gathering, a birthday party, maybe, or a casual get-together with friends. As you mingle, you notice the conversations around you are light and easy. People are chatting about the latest TV shows, what they bought on sale, or where they plan to go on vacation. But as you listen, you start to feel a little out of place. It's not that you don't enjoy hearing about these things, but there's this nagging feeling that something's missing. You try to steer the conversation towards something deeper, maybe asking about a recent life change or a personal experience with faith. But as soon as you do, the energy shifts. People politely nod, then quickly move back to lighter topics. Suddenly, you're left feeling like the odd one out, like you're not quite connecting with those around you. It's in these moments that the craving for depth can make you feel like you don't fully belong, even when you're surrounded by friends. Albert Einstein is a great example of someone who struggled with small talk and craved deeper conversations. Known for his brilliant mind, Einstein often found everyday chit-chat to be unfulfilling. He wasn't interested in talking about the weather or the latest gossip. Instead, he wanted to discuss the mysteries of the universe, the nature of time, and the deeper questions of existence. This made him somewhat of an outsider in social situations. While others were engaged in casual banter, Einstein was lost in thought, pondering the complexities of life and the cosmos. It wasn't that he didn't care about people. He simply found it difficult to connect over topics that didn't challenge his mind or stir his soul. Einstein's preference for depth over small talk often set him apart, but it also led to some of the most profound discoveries in human history. Like Einstein, if you find small talk difficult, it's a sign that your mind and heart are wired for deeper connections. If you find yourself craving deeper conversations, don't be afraid to seek out those who share that same desire. There are others out there who, like you, value meaningful discussions that go beyond the surface. It might take some time to find them, but when you do, you'll discover a sense of connection that's truly fulfilling. Surround yourself with people who understand and appreciate your need for depth, who are willing to dive into life's bigger questions with you. These are the relationships that will nourish your soul and make you feel truly understood. Don't settle for less. Your heart's desire for deeper connection is a beautiful gift, and it deserves to be shared with those who feel the same. Reason 5. Your path is unconventional. As a chosen one, you might find yourself walking a path that looks very different from the norm. While others are following traditional routes, like getting a stable job, settling down, or fitting into societal expectations, you feel called to something unique, something that doesn't always align with what's considered normal. This might mean pursuing a career or lifestyle that others don't understand, or it could involve taking risks that others would avoid. Your path is unconventional because it's tailored to your specific purpose, one that's been set out for you by a higher calling. It's not always easy to walk this road, especially when it feels like you're going against the grain, but it's this very path that makes you who you are, a chosen one, with a mission that only you can fulfill. Walking an unconventional path can sometimes feel lonely, especially when those closest to you don't quite understand your journey. Friends and family might have their own ideas about what success or happiness should look like. And when your path doesn't match up, it can lead to feelings of isolation or even misunderstanding. They might question your choices or express concern, not because they don't care, but because they can't see the vision that's been placed in your heart. This divergence can create a gap between you and those you love, making you feel like you're walking this road alone. But remember, just because others don't understand your path doesn't mean it's the wrong one. It's unique to you, and sometimes that means taking steps that others wouldn't take. Trust in your journey, even when it feels like no one else does. Let me tell you about someone who faced skepticism but stayed true to their path. J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series. Before she became one of the most successful writers in history, Rowling was a single mother living on welfare, struggling to make ends meet. She had this incredible story in her heart, but when she shared her dream of becoming a published author, many people didn't take her seriously. Publishers rejected her manuscript multiple times, and some even told her that children's books wouldn't sell. Despite the doubts and the obstacles, she stayed true to her vision. She kept writing, kept believing, and eventually, her persistence paid off. The world she created touched millions, and she became an inspiration to many. Rowling's journey wasn't easy, and it was far from conventional, but she proved that following your own path, no matter how difficult, can lead to extraordinary outcomes. Her story reminds us that staying true to yourself, even in the face of skepticism, can lead to something truly special. Steve Jobs is a prime example of someone who took an unconventional route, facing isolation before ultimately achieving incredible success. Early in his career, Jobs was known for his visionary ideas and relentless pursuit of perfection. But this same drive often set him apart from others, leading to misunderstandings and even conflicts. In 1985, he was famously ousted from the company he co-founded, Apple, because his approach was seen as too radical. Many people thought he had failed. But instead of giving up, Jobs used this time to explore new ideas, eventually creating another successful company, Next, and helping to revolutionize the animation industry with Pixar. When Apple invited him back, his innovative thinking transformed the company into one of the most valuable in the world. Jobs' journey wasn't easy, and it certainly wasn't conventional, but by staying true to his vision, he changed the world. His story shows us that even when others don't understand or support your path, staying true to your unique calling can lead to extraordinary success. I want to encourage you to stay committed to your unique journey, even when it feels lonely. There will be times when the path you're on feels difficult, and it might seem like no one understands or supports your choices. But remember, your journey is yours for a reason. It's been designed just for you. The challenges you face are shaping you, preparing you for the incredible things ahead. Don't give up, even when the road is tough. Keep going. Keep believing in the vision that's been placed in your heart. In time, you'll see that every step, every struggle was leading you exactly where you're meant to be. Stay strong and trust that your perseverance will lead to something truly meaningful. Reason 6. You carry a strong sense of responsibility. As a chosen one, you might often feel a deep sense of responsibility that can weigh heavily on your shoulders. It's like you've been entrusted with something important, something that goes beyond just your own life. This could be a calling to help others, to make a difference in the world, or to fulfill a purpose that you can't ignore. While this responsibility is a gift, it can also feel overwhelming at times. You might feel like the weight of the world is on you, that you can't afford to make mistakes because so much is at stake. This can be a heavy burden to carry, especially when it feels like others don't understand the pressure you're under. But remember, this sense of responsibility is part of what makes you who you are, and it's a sign that you're on the right path, even when it feels challenging. This profound sense of responsibility that you carry can sometimes set you apart from your peers. While others might be focused on enjoying life, having fun, or pursuing personal goals, you're often thinking about the bigger picture, how your actions impact others, how you can contribute to a greater cause, or how to fulfill the mission you feel called to. This can create a sense of distance, as your priorities might not align with those around you. It's not that you don't want to connect with others, but your sense of duty can make it hard to relate at times. You might find yourself feeling a bit isolated, as if you're carrying a burden that others can't see or understand. But this responsibility is part of your unique journey, and it's a sign that you're living with purpose, even if it sets you apart. Imagine you're a chosen one with a deep sense of duty to a cause that means the world to you. Maybe it's a commitment to volunteer work, a mission to help those in need, or a dedication to spreading a message of hope. One weekend, your friends invite you to a fun getaway, a chance to relax and enjoy some time together. But at the same time, you've made a commitment to help out at a local shelter or attend an important event related to your cause. You know how much this means to you, and you feel responsible for fulfilling your duty. So, you make the tough choice to honor your commitment, even though it means missing out on time with your friends. Over time, these choices can create distance between you and those you care about, as they may not fully understand why you prioritize your responsibilities over social activities. It's not that you don't value your friendships, it's just that your sense of duty is so strong that it sometimes pulls you in a different direction. This can lead to feelings of isolation, but it's also a reflection of your deep commitment to your calling. Winston Churchill is a powerful example of someone who bore immense responsibility and often felt isolated because of it. During World War I, Churchill was tasked with leading Britain through one of the darkest periods in history. The weight of this responsibility was enormous. Every decision he made had the potential to impact millions of lives. Churchill's unwavering resolve and commitment to his country set him apart, but it also left him feeling isolated. He often stood alone, making tough decisions that weren't always popular, even among his closest advisors. The burden of leadership was heavy, and the responsibility he carried meant that he couldn't always share the same camaraderie that others did. Churchill's sense of duty to his nation sometimes made him a solitary figure, but it also made him the leader that Britain needed in its hour of greatest need. His story reminds us that bearing great responsibility can be a lonely path, but it's also one that can lead to profound impact. I want to remind you that while your responsibilities are important, so is taking care of yourself. It's easy to get caught up in the weight of your duties, feeling like you have to keep going no matter what. But remember, it's okay to step back and take a break when you need it. Self-care isn't selfish, it's necessary. You can't pour from an empty cup, so taking time to rest, recharge, and nourish your own spirit is vital. Don't be afraid to set boundaries or say no when you're feeling overwhelmed. Your well-being matters, and taking care of yourself will ultimately help you fulfill your responsibilities even better. Balance is key, and it's okay to prioritize your own health and happiness along the way. Reason 7. You are often misunderstood. As a chosen one, you might often feel misunderstood by those around you. Your thoughts, your passions, and the way you see the world can be different from what others expect or comprehend. This can lead to moments where people don't quite grasp what you're trying to say or why you're so committed to your path. It's not that they don't care, they just might not see things from your perspective. This misunderstanding can sometimes leave you feeling isolated, like you're on a journey that others can't fully share or support. It's a lonely feeling, knowing that the very things that make you unique can also make you feel like you don't quite belong. But remember, being misunderstood doesn't mean you're wrong or that your path isn't valuable. It's a sign that you're walking a road less traveled, one that's meant for you alone. Being misunderstood can sometimes create a barrier in your friendships and social connections. When others don't fully grasp your thoughts, your passions, or the reasons behind your actions, it can lead to a sense of distance. You might find that conversations don't flow as easily, or that there's a lack of deeper connection because they don't see things the way you do. This can make you feel like you're on the outside looking in, even with people you care about. It's not that your friends don't value you, they just might not understand your perspective, which can make building close relationships more challenging. Over time, this feeling of being misunderstood can create a gap, leaving you feeling isolated or even a bit disconnected from those around you. But remember, this doesn't mean you're unworthy of connection. It simply means you're on a unique path that not everyone will fully understand. Let's consider the story of Joan of Arc, a young woman whose actions and intentions were deeply misunderstood, leading to her alienation. Joan believed she was called by God to lead France to victory during the 100 Years' War. Despite her youth and lack of formal military training, she followed this divine calling with unwavering faith. However, many around her, including those in positions of power, couldn't understand or accept that someone so young, and a woman at that, could be chosen for such a monumental task. As she led her troops to victories, her actions were often met with skepticism and suspicion rather than support. Eventually, her lack of understanding and the jealousy of others led to her capture, trial, and execution. Joan's intentions were pure, driven by her deep faith and sense of duty, but because she was misunderstood, she faced isolation and ultimately a tragic end. Her story is a powerful reminder that being misunderstood can sometimes lead to alienation, even when your heart is in the right place. Vincent van Gogh is a perfect example of someone who was deeply misunderstood during his lifetime, but later celebrated for his extraordinary contributions. Van Gogh was a brilliant artist, but his work was often rejected and overlooked by the society of his time. People didn't understand his unique style, his bold use of color, or the intense emotion he poured into each painting. He struggled with mental health issues, which only added to the misunderstanding and isolation he experienced. Van Gogh created over 2,000 pieces of art, yet he sold only a handful during his lifetime. He lived much of his life in poverty and loneliness, feeling alienated from the world that couldn't see the beauty in his vision. It wasn't until after his death that the world began to recognize his genius. Today, Van Gogh is celebrated as one of the most influential artists in history, his works admired by millions. His story reminds us that even when we are misunderstood, our contributions can still leave a lasting impact. And sometimes, it just takes time for the world to catch up. I want to encourage you to embrace your uniqueness, even when it feels like others don't fully understand you. Being misunderstood can be tough, but it often means you're on a truly unique path, one that's meant just for you. Remember, the things that set you apart are the very things that make you special. Don't let the opinions of others discourage you or make you question your worth. Instead, stand firm in who you are and the path you're walking. The world might not always see it right away, but your uniqueness is a gift, and it's leading you towards something meaningful and important. Embrace it fully, knowing that being different is a sign that you're meant for something extraordinary. Let's take a moment to recap the 7 reasons why you might feel like an outsider on your journey as a chosen one. First, you see the world differently, which can make it hard to connect with others who don't share your perspective. Second, your larger purpose often sets you apart from societal norms, making you feel out of sync with those around you. Third, your heightened intuition makes you sensitive to things others might miss, leading to feelings of isolation. Fourth, you crave deep, meaningful conversations, which can make casual social interactions feel draining. Fifth, your unconventional path can create distance between you and those who follow a more traditional route. Sixth, your strong sense of responsibility can set you apart from peers who don't share the same burdens. And finally, being misunderstood by others can create barriers in your relationships. Remember, these feelings are part of your unique journey, and they're a sign that you're walking a path meant just for you. As we wrap up, I want you to take this to heart. Your uniqueness is a gift, and it's something to be cherished. The journey you're on may not always be easy, but it's uniquely yours, and it's leading you towards something truly special. Embrace every part of who you are, even the parts that feel different or misunderstood. Remember, you're not alone in this. There are others out there who share your experiences, your struggles, and your triumphs. Stay strong, keep walking your path, and trust that you're exactly where you're meant to be. Your light is needed in this world, and your journey is making a difference, even when it's hard to see. If you found this video helpful, I'd love for you to subscribe, like, and leave a comment sharing your thoughts or experiences. Your feedback means a lot, and it helps us continue to create content that resonates with you. Also, if you know someone who might benefit from understanding why they feel like an outsider, please share this video with them. Together, we can build a community where everyone feels seen, understood, and supported on their unique journey. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to connecting with you in the comments.